Morning to all. I'm Latika ma'am. Today we will do Beehive, the little girl. Okay. So the story is about a little girl, how she changes her opinion about her father. So in the beginning, she thinks there is some big giant with no feelings. Okay, but she's a little girl and he spends very little time with her. So she has a totally different later story. You will see in as we go that she changes her opinion. And the main reason for changing her opinion is the little display of emotion that he did when he showed her some love and affection. That is all it took for her to change her opinion. So, like we say, love conquers all. We can change a person's opinion by just showing them some sort of love or affection. So we will see how in the beginning she was so scared of her father, but she was like a girl and her father was big built and she used to just observe from the outside. He is a big man. She had with him. She didn't know much about him because even he was a very busy person. He couldn't spend much time with her. And how she compares her father with the neighbors, with the father in the neighborhood, where he has about 3 to 4 children, and how he spends time with the children, where he displays a lot of emotion, is so much involved with the children, which her father has never done. So it is only from her own experience that she has formed an opinion about her own father. But later on, she changes because the interaction has been such that she's convinced that uh, her father is also a very loving person. So we will go to the story. We will read part of it today. The remaining part we will do next class. Okay, so we will go straight to the story. The little girl. Do you feel you know your parents better now than when you were much younger? Perhaps you now understand the reasons for some of their actions that used to upset you earlier. This story about a little girl whose feelings for her father changed from fear to understanding will probably find an echo in every home. So it is something which happens in everybody's home. Okay, so where we first have a prejudiced or stereotype opinion about somebody, but later through our interaction we can change that opinion. To the little girl, he was a figure to be feared and avoided. Every morning before going to work, he came into her room and gave her a casual kiss, to which she responded, "Goodbye, father." And oh, there was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter and fainter down the long road. So as he was moving away from the home, she felt much more relieved. That means that shows how much of fear and she was relieved that he is not at home anymore. He's left the home. She can be more free in her movements and going around the house. So the only time he comes to her room is to say goodbye by giving her a small kiss, and she responds by saying, "Goodbye, father." In the evening, when he came home, she stood near the staircase and heard his loud voice in the hall. "Bring my tea into the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Mother, go and see if my paper is out there. And bring me my slippers." So once he comes back from the office also, it is a lot of orders only he hears him tell. Okay? There is no other interaction except calling out orders and giving out orders to different people to do different jobs. Kezia, mother would call to her, if you're a good girl, you can come down and take off father's boots. Okay, so as if she has been given the honor to do the removing of the boots of her father. So she said, if you are good, you will have the privilege to remove the boots of her father. Slowly the girl would slip down the stairs, more slowly still across the hall, and push open the drawing room door. So when her mother calls her that father has come, you can come and remove the shoes, she walks down slowly and very cautiously into the room where her father is resting. By that time, he had his spectacles on and looked at her over them in a way that was terrifying to the little girl. So you can imagine he's wearing these glasses, and through that, he's looking at the girl, which was a very terrifying sight for her. It was not a very pleasant sight for her. Well, Kezia, hurry up and pull off these boots and take them outside. Have you been a good girl today? So father is asking, okay, now you may take it out fast, remove it quickly. And then he asks whether she was a good girl that day. I don't know, father. You don't know. If you stutter like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor. She never stuttered with other people, had quite given it up, but only with father, because then he was trying so hard to say the words properly. So she had this stuttering or stammering, which was not there with when she's comfortably talking to people, only because maybe she was a little fearful of her father. She was stuttering when she was talking to her father. So father says, if you keep on stuttering like this, we will have to take you to a doctor, which is not the case when she was speaking to others. What's the matter? Why are you looking so wretched about? Mother, I wish you taught this child not to appear on the brink of suicide. Here, Kezia, carry my teacup back to the table carefully. So he's had his tea and he's asking her to do these small chores. To take his cup back to the table. He was so big, his hands and his neck, especially his mouth when he yawned. Thinking about him alone was like thinking about a giant. On Sunday afternoons, grandmother sent her down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother. But the little girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa, his handkerchief on his face, his feet on one of the best cushions, sleeping soundly and snoring. Okay. So, grandmother wanted her to feel more comfortable with her father. So, she used to purposely send her down to spend Sunday afternoons with her parents, because most of the time she's spending time with the grandmother. So, the grandmother wanted her to get to know her father better, spend more time with her father. So, she used to say, go on Sundays and spend time with them. But what does she find when she goes to the drawing room to be with their parents? Both the parents are busy with their own work. Father is sleeping stretched on the sofa, covered his face with a hanky, and mother is busy reading something. So you can see in the picture, they've shown you what they just now said. Your father is lying with his leg on the sofa. Look. She sat on a stool, gravely watched him until he woke and stretched, and asked the time. Then looked at her. Don't stare so, Kezia. You look like a little brown owl. So she didn't want to disturb her father. She will sit on the side and watch her father till he gets up. So as soon as he gets up, he sees her sitting there and gazing at her. And one day, when she was kept indoors with a cold, her mother, her grandmother told her that her father's birthday was next week and suggested she should make him a pincushion for a gift out of a beautiful piece of yellow silk. So it is her father's birthday the next week. Mm, So her grandmother suggested that she make a pin cushion. You've seen the pin cushions, isn't it? Where you keep pins on, so that it will make him happy. Is a gift, handmade gift by her to her father. Laboriously, with a double cotton, the little girl stitched three sides. But what to fill it with? That was the question. The grandmother was out in the garden and she wandered into mother's bedroom to look for scraps. Scraps is pieces of cloth, old cloth, which you can use for stuffing to make something else. On the bed table, she discovered a great many sheets of fine paper, gathered them up, tore them into tiny pieces, and stuffed her case. Then sewed up the fourth side. Okay, so she finally found something to stuff her pincushion. So it was not scraps of cloth, it was scraps of paper. That night there was a hue and cry in the house. Father's great speech for the port authority had been lost. Rooms were searched, servants questioned. Finally, mother came into Kezia's room. Kezia, I suppose you didn't see some papers on our table in our room. Oh yes, she said. I tore them up for my surprise. What? Screamed mother. Come straight down to the dining room this instant. And she was dragged down to where father was, pacing to and fro, hands behind him. Well, he said sharply. Mother explained. He stopped and stared at the child. Did you do that? No, he whispered. Mother, go up to her room and fetch down the damn thing. See that the child is put to bed this instant. So he has done something wrong or something important. Told them up. So her father is very angry. So when her mother goes searching for it, she finally finds that it's her work that she has. And it was some important papers which had a speech written on it, which her father was supposed to deliver for the court authority. So when she found out that she had done this, she got very angry, took her to her mother, and even father said, get it. And he said, okay. So there is a match the following. You can do this in the workbook itself. And the questions, why was Kezia afraid of her father? So that I think we've already read. Because I told you in the beginning, he just didn't spend much time with her, and she had this impression that her father was very rude and very somebody to be afraid of. He was like a giant. When she used to think of him, the picture that comes to her mind is a big giant with a scary person. So who were the people in Kezia's family? Grandmother, father, mother, and Kezia. What was Kezia's father's routine before going to his office? So all these one by one you can take and answer it. You can, after coming back from his office, what was his routine? On Sundays, what was his routine? So everything has been listed in the text. Go through it and frame sentences in the proper way and write it. In what ways did Kezia's grandmother encourage her to get to know her father better? So that also we have done. So on Sundays, she was encouraged to go and spend time with the parents. So write it in proper sentences. So all these 4 question answers you can do. And read the lesson once more. If you have any doubt, we can discuss it in the next class. So we will do the next part in the next session.